American Perspective with Patriot Mom 007. Today, we are so lucky to be joined by Gail Golec, my friend. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Noelle.
She and I met about a year ago, and Gail was a citizen journalist like myself. Now she has moved into helping our country a little bit more substantially. She's running as candidate for Maricopa County Board of Supervisors here in Arizona. So let's talk first. There's so much to talk about, right? First of all, it's 4th of July weekend. So I am patriotic all the time, and I just came from South Dakota. The flags are flying everywhere, even before 4th. I got all this gear in South Dakota, and so we want to say happy 4th of July this weekend. But let's talk to Gail a little bit about her candidacy. So tell us why you decided to go from journalism into the realm of politics.
Well, it found its way into politics. It was one of those things where I was doing the journalism. I was interviewing all of the auditors all across the United States, whether it be Joe Von Hutton Pulitzer, who just did the audit report this past week on the audit,
right.
On the paper analysis, Captain Seth Keschel, Dr. Doug Frank, Professor Clements, Bobby Piton. Listen, I've interviewed them all. So there was and I was pretty much obsessed with trying to get the truth out there about what actually happened with the audit, and not with the audit, but with the election.
Right.
And then how can we protect our election going forward? And it so happened to be that we had a board of supervisor who I actually, on my citizen journalism escapades, I called him a traitor to his face, because he just voted against an audit, and there was no reason to not have an audit.
Can we name who that is?
Steve Shukri.
Okay, thank you for that.
Absolutely. And so he resigned, and it just so happened that he was in my district. So I prayed about it and asked friends and family, and it was just like unanimous,
Yeah.
I just needed to run. And
right.
It's been wonderful. It's been a wonderful experience, probably one of the hardest experiences as far as, the hours that you put into it, the challenges and all of that. But, we're at war, so what do you expect? I mean, this is war, and we're at battle, and so we've got a country to save. So it doesn't matter too much about sleep.
Right.
Really,
right.
at this point.
Right.
I mean, it's really hard to focus on anything else other than saving our country right now.
I guess we can sleep and nap when everything's back to order.
And we'll get there. We're working on it.
I think so. It's just one day at a time, right? Everything's
Absolutely.
one day at a time. So we just have to all work as hard as we can each and every day, however that may be. For me, this is picking up a microphone out of the blue 6 months ago and trying to get messages out like a lot of other people are doing too. I try to do it in a little bit different way. And so I do want to talk to you a little bit. Some of your campaign issues that you bring up are medical freedom, election protection, of course, and I worked the Arizona audit for 3 months myself, so I'm all about the integrity and doing things by the book, and then advocating for those suffering from mental health issues. So let's go backwards. So let's talk about the advocacy for those with mental health issues, because I know that's a personal issue for you, and I know people would probably love to know a little bit more about you and your life, if you're willing to, share some of that with us.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So really, that's what got me started in politics to begin with. I've been involved with politics, probably since about 2010, 2011, when I lived in Illinois. And then I moved to Arizona in 2011. But even back then, I was advocating for those that are suffering with mental illness and substance use disorders, because I have a son who suffers with that. And when my son was in a deep state of crisis, I should say, I couldn't get him the help that he needed. He desperately needed it, and I couldn't get the help that he needed. And I knew that I could go to another meeting, and
right.
just, talk about it, or I can get involved and change the law that was preventing my son from getting the help.
That's right.
So I first reached out to the Association for Chronically Mentally Ill, and I worked with them, and then I became a precinct committee woman, and I've been a precinct committee woman for over 6 years now. I was actually
Awesome.
Nominated and elected as the national delegate alternate for,
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, for President Trump in the 2020 election. So I was supposed to go to North Carolina. However, that didn't happen because of the COVID. I'm really blessed and honored to say that, throughout this process, I've met a lot of the legislators, a lot of the Senate, and I was able to get a bill passed unanimously through the House and the Senate to truly help those that are suffering with the co-occurring mental illness and substance use disorders that so many are suffering with in the state, across this country, and across the world. And especially with these open borders that we have right now and the fentanyl pouring in.
Right.
I mean, it's a poison to America, and it's killing the best of the best.
Right.
People think that these young children or even adults or, people who thought they had a manageable cocaine habit, right? Now they're being laced with fentanyl, and they're just dying, and they think they're taking a Xanax, and it's been laced with fentanyl, and they're dying.
Right.
So we have to provide more treatment, and one of the things that I really want to do is audit this healthcare system. We've got a lot of problems, whether it be down to the medical tyranny and all of that we're dealing with right now, and the PSY science that's out there. We really have a problem with the lack of transitional housing. We have a problem with the treatment, and our Arizona State Hospital is a complete mess.
Right.
So,
now, who helped you get that bill done?
That would have been Senator Nancy Bartow.
Okay.
As well as, she ran the bill, as well as many members of the Association for Chronically Mentally Ill. So that's acmiionline.org.
Okay.
And you can check them out. They're great. They have great blogs and resources. And we have a lot of people in crisis, and we have lawyers, and we have family members, and that all help each other out. So it's a beautiful organization.
That's great. Well, I'm glad you're involved, because I know many people who suffer from these issues as well, and I know the resources in Arizona personally as well are not at all what they should be, especially for our youth. I know a friend whose son is actually also struggling right now, just came out of behavioral crisis center, and it's taken over a month to find or get him on a plan where he can even start looking for somebody to help counsel him a month after leaving the crisis center. Obviously too long. So this is going to be a big uphill battle. For some reason, they don't think mental health is of importance enough to really put a fine point on it constantly and get moving on it sooner than later. So we hope that you will continue that fight when you are elected to Maricopa County Board of Supervisors.
That is my promise. It is my passion. And they're trying to take away our guns, but they're not addressing the mental health issue that is causing the problem. It's not guns that kill people. It's people who are ill that kill people.
That's right.
People who have nowhere to go that kill people. There are gun safety laws. You should go out there, get your CCW if possible, get trained, continue to go out to the range. Understand. Right, exactly.
Yeah, well, we hope your son is in a good place right now. I know it's up and down with these things, so of course we will be praying for him and for your family always. I think everybody would agree with me that that's something we just need to do. Pray for people, pray for our country. Every day we see these things happening, and we hear about things that are not there to take care of the people that are living here. Longer than the people that are coming over to the border every day, I should say, because they do take care of them. So we need to take care of the people who are already here. That includes Gail's son, sons of my friend, like that I mentioned. So let's just all work toward that. If you see these things happening in your state, then you need to say something, and you need to go to your legislatures, and you need to go to the people that you know in your neighborhoods who are PCs who can get to those people. So that's how we start changing things. So let's just move to now, speaking of the election protection and integrity. We know that we had a huge problem in Arizona. Right behind you is coming from Nevada, a couple guests. They just opened a recount yesterday for the gubernatorial race, and there were some other debacles over there that we're very familiar with because we watched it happen live. So election protection, you mentioned to me, we talked the other day. Paul Gosar, who I got to meet last week, I was so honored. You said you co-petitioned something with him on this subject. Right.
So what we're doing right now is the biggest thing that we have to do not only in Arizona, but across this United States of America and actually the world, because this is what's happening, is that these machines are manipulating the elections. And we need to go back to a hand count. There's no reason in the world that we cannot go back to a hand count. So it is my mission, my goal, my promise that I will not stop until we get rid of these machines. We know for a fact that they have algorithms built into them. We can look at what just happened to Tina Peters just the other day in Colorado, where the same thing happened to all three candidates at the exact same time, the same algorithm all the way across. It's just sickening what's happening, and it's been going on, and it's been going on for a long time. I think certainly one of the reasons I believe, just in theory, the hanging Chad came into play was to bring in these machines, but that was after they already took over Venezuela and the Philippines. So we know that these machines have been hacked. There's a movie by the name of Kill Chain that you can watch, and you'll see even the Democrats agreed when it didn't, affect them. But this is not a Democrat or a Republican thing. This is an American thing. This is our voice, and our vote is our voice.
That's right.
It is,
and it needs to count.
It needs to count. So, I was fortunate enough, along the way to meet some patriots who had already been working on this for quite a while. And then with my IT background and because I have a cybersecurity background, I used to set up local area networks for small to medium businesses, and then being a candidate in Maricopa County, and of course my audit experience, I absolutely know that these machines had been connected to the internet. I understand the vulnerabilities. I understand the need for secure passwords. I understand what dual boot hard drives are and why they make a difference. I understand why they can put a USB key in a machine and enter malicious code into the machine very easily. And you know who else knows about that is CISA, the Cyber Infrastructure Security Administration. It's it's our federal government, right? It's the highest, and they look at the cyber internet security.
I mean, look, if they hack the Pentagon and American Express and Facebook, I'm pretty sure they can hack some machines standing in a room.
Well, not only these machines, we found in our audit. Silly. In our audit, they had not even been updated.
Certified?
Well, they hadn't been certified. They hadn't been updated.
The first step.
Right. And they hadn't been updated with, just think about your antivirus software and things like that. None of that had been updated. They talk about an open air gap system, but we had 50, what they call ports. And there were 59 open ports that they found through the audit Ben Cotton did from Cypher. He was one of the subcontractors under Doug Logan from Cyber Ninjas.
Right.
And he was the cyber expert. And you can go to azsenaterepublicans.com, and you'll see the audit report right there as far as what they claimed. What they
posted.
Right.
I mean, so I worked the audit, like I said before. I had a hand in compiling some of the information that is on that website. I looked through it actually after Gail told me what they posted. So some of what you see will be final results. Some of what you see are draft results and not final results. So just know that everything you read online is not going to be 100% accurate, even if it's coming out of our own party.
Well, that's for sure.
So I hate to say that, but that's just a fact. I mean, I'm not guessing at it because I did the work, so I can identify what they posted online. I was at your Truth Tellers event last year. Yeah. Kind of how we met, actually. That was how the official meeting, right?
Yes, that's how we met.
Yeah, that's how we met. And there was a guy there. I don't know who he was. Didn't he get up and testify to the audience that he personally was able to hack in to the machine? I feel like I remember one of your guests.
He said, well, he's hacked into those machines, and they're very easy to hack into. Joe Vaughn hacked into the machine, Joe Van Houten Pulitzer in Georgia. We had another election judge who said they were connected to the internet. I connected them to the internet.
Right. And Joe Vaughn's report that just came out last Monday, it was broadcast live here in Arizona, but where can people find that?
Well, you will be able to
can we?
see that on my Rumble channel.
Perfect.
You can find that on Jovan's Rumble channel,
Okay.
Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. And you can go to my website, actually, which is gailgolec.com, GailGolec.com. And I have links to all of my social media channels there. I'm still doing, by the way, I'm doing journalism here and there, but this campaign has... it's really important for me to get in front of the people right now. There's a lot to be said about shaking hands with everybody and really being able to understand what their needs are, what their concerns are,
Right.
and being able to share with them how I'm going to help them and give them my email and my phone number and let them know that I
There are people
truly...
that they can get to if they need something.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm always been, and I have all these social media here, so you can really check me out to understand that I am a true patriot through and through.
And outspoken for sure.
Outspoken,
so
for
speaking of
sure.
shaking hands, I know you were at Mara Lago a couple months ago with Mike Lindell. And I think, didn't I hear that you were personally in the room of a crowd of, for you, 100 it seemed, when I saw the pictures, shouted out by President Donald Trump with his verbal endorsement.
It was pretty surreal, absolutely. I was standing there in Mara Lago. We were poolside at a fundraiser, and I'm outspoken, and President Trump was speaking, and I was standing in front of him, talking to him, basically kind of like he said, we need more warriors. And I'm like, I'm a warrior, President Trump. And and he was talking about the corruption, and I'm like, you won, and return the diamonds, and all, just kind of bantering with him, because I
Right.
was really very close to him, probably.
It was a small room. It was a small,
Well, it was
not
a
a small
it was-
room, but it was a small. It was a close encounter. I
A
would
very
say.
close encounter.
Yeah.
I would say I was probably 5 to 6 feet away from him. And he was at the top of the stairs, and I was front row at the bottom of the stairs. So there were like 4 stairs up, So
Pretty close.
Yeah. So we were right there. And anyway, so he continued on, and you can see all this on my website. But he continued on to talk about some of the numbers that we've already discovered from the audit, and the mass maladministration and fraud and crimes that had already been committed. And I just said, you got to get me in there, President Trump. Gail Golec, I'm running for Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. And he says, I give you my endorsement right now.
Yeah, I heard it. I saw the video. It was amazing.
And he was looking right at me, and I was just like, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
It was a big moment.
It was such a big, everybody was like clapping and
Yeah.
it was surreal.
Sure
I was
it
like,
was.
this is God. This is only God.
That put you there too. I
he
mean, that
put me
was a
there.
fortunate moment for you to be able to get there and
Yes.
how you got there. So,
Yes.
Mike Lindell was a proponent of that, and I know he's a big patriot here in our nation. A lot of people talk about Mike Lindell. He's working all the time behind the scenes. I don't know him, but I know people who know him, and he's always somewhere doing something. I don't think he's sitting in his desk or his lazy boy chair at home a lot, because he's always around and trying to shake things up, make things happen, like you are going to be doing, like President Trump does, still not as our actual in the office president, but President Trump, he's still out there fighting the good fight.
Yes.
And that's even if you're not in office. I'll say again, because Gail touched on being a PC, I just got to be a PC. I'm so excited this year.
Oh, congratulations.
I know. I'm really excited
happy
to
for
meet
you.
my neighbors and stuff and just get involved on a
for
local
you.
level to learn, right? I've been a mom for 20 years, wasn't voting. I voted first time in 2016 because I wanted somebody to actually be in office. That was President Trump. And so that from that point forward, then I got involved in the audit, and now I'm getting involved in my neighborhood and in my community and in my state, and actually other states too. So I just encourage everybody, no matter what point of life you're in, that if you're a mom for 20 years and you're super busy with kids, that's great. I did that. But then when they're older now, they're 20 and 17, they don't really want me hanging out. So I've got all this time on my hands, and now I'm getting involved. So just at the moment of life that you can get involved, or the day that you have extra to stuff envelopes or whatever, that's just the day you get involved.
I can tell you that, well, first of all, Mike Lindell, for those who don't know, he is the CEO of MyPillow. And so some people may or may not know, but everybody probably knows because he's on every channel. And use promo code Gail, by the way.
There you go.
Yeah,
to get your MyPillow items at a discount.
Yeah, up to 66% off.
Oh,
and
that's nice.
Yeah, so
today with inflation as it is.
That's really good.
Because he was giving a lower percentage off, so now he's upped the percentage to fight the inflation rate that Biden has given us. So thank you, Mr. Lindell.
Yes, he's fabulous. And then to your point about PCs, I can tell you that, being in a PC, a lot of the families actually do bring their children along. It's a great lesson in civics. And, one thing we don't have right now is civics in our school.
It's true.
So it's really, even if families are welcome. So, even if you are a busy mom or a busy dad or single dad, children are welcome, in fact, encouraged. I really, I always love seeing, as a matter of fact, to see another a family show up there because we are putting, the pride back in America, and we're raising another generation.
Yes, that doesn't know what happened previously because they took history out pretty much too from the way we learned it as it actually happened. I do try to enlist my 17 and 20-year-old when I can to go to events with me. They are starting to. They went to a Turning Point event last December. They loved it. It was amazing. They were so excited to go, and they met some amazing people. So that piqued their interest. So I'm working on them slowly. They have a lot of distractions because they're young kids in 2022. Everything's like flashing here and flashing there and downloading to your phone every second. So sometimes we just need to get out to the events too and see what's going on in our town and talk to other people and meet people from around. And I know you're doing a lot of that right now.
Yes,
you were at an event last night, I think. Tell us about that.
Oh, well, I'm at multiple events every day. Yeah. So yesterday I had my meeting with Paul Gosar, and like we were talking about, he agreed to jump in on this complaint that we're working on to get rid of these machines. And so, and right now, the biggest thing is we have to come up with a remedy, right? Because there's a lot of, laws and rules and things like that. And the contingency, we found out there's a contingency plan that the Secretary of State that is supposed to provide, but they have not provided it to us.
Glossed over it as if it weren't there?
We've requested it over 30 days ago. We haven't received it. So I think by law they have until 30 days prior. So we're looking for what that contingency plan is. So, if we can get the revocation of the accreditation of the laboratories and the machines, what do we do? And so you always have to go in with a prayer of relief. So, bottom line is that I believe that's really pretty basic. We go back to the precincts, we hand count, we have oversight. We go back to what we used to do.
Right.
I mean, it's really not rocket science, but the problem is that we do have a lot of corruption in the judicial system, and
in both sides of the aisle as well.
Oh no, we have. You made mention of the the report, the audit report, and and the lack of transparency and clarity and truthfulness of it that was put out there by cyber ninjas. And I say that because not necessarily on behalf of Doug Logan, but more because of Corey Langhofer. He is the Senate attorney here in Arizona, and he has continued to be a thorn in the side of the people, not putting out there the information. For instance, we had a report from a guy by the name of Eric Spakeen, and he is a forensic analyst. This report was delivered to the Senate and to the attorneys on September 20th. Well, the audit report was put out on September 24th. In this report that Eric Spakeen put out, it said that he looked at 61 batches of ballots, and a batch of ballots is approximately 200.
Right. It's supposed to be. Some of them were 198, some of them were 14. So it was all over the map. They weren't all 200.
No, because
But they're supposed to be.
right, because only 52 of the 1,675 boxes were actually sealed properly.
True.
So we had all of the boxes had been perforated in, and tens of thousands of counterfeit ballots were found within these boxes. But to that point, we knew about it at the audit because Eric Spakeen said there were batches of Biden. Okay, there were batches of Biden ballots in a row. So he did an evaluation of 61 batches of ballots. 58 out of the 61 batches of ballots had 90% Biden and 10% Trump in a row.
Well, we saw it when we counted by hand. So it's spun. Everybody knows we have a wheel. It spins. We count. We don't touch the ballots, and we could see it. But later we did do some hand counting as well, where we're right there in front of the ballot. And I knew that's the pattern we saw. There's 20. Biden, Trump. Biden, Trump. And it's weird. It's like they took all the Trump ones that they could find, and then they just fanned it and stuffed them and fanned it and stuffed them. Now, I don't know if they did that or not. I'm just saying that is the pattern we saw, which is kind of weird that it was so regular. It was kind of like a regular pattern in all the boxes.
We have proof of the the filled in ballots as well, and the templated ballots and the 10 types of paper that we had. So we had all of it. But my point is that we had the 58 out of the 61 were 90 Biden Trump, and then the 10% for Trump. Yeah, and then 3 out of the 61 were 90% Trump and 10% Biden, and so they wanted to cover their bases. So what makes me sick is that they had this information, and on the report, it just showed that this was they didn't even talk about it, number one. And then when they talked about some of the ballots, they just said, well, it's just for informational purposes, that there are questionable. He called them questionable ballots.
Right. So
and it was
they're either valid or they're not.
And
if they're questionable, then they're not valid. I would say, just as a common sense statement. Anything questionable may not be valid. So especially if a professional says it. So we know we have problems. We know going into even August 2nd is our primary here in Arizona. I know a lot of primaries just finished up around the country. So are we expecting something out of that? Are we looking into that? I know you're trying to get the machines now with Congressman Gosar taken away. I'm not a Debbie Downer. I am actually a Pollyanna, but that does seem like a large order in the next month.
I would 100% agree. I mean, the ballots are going out next week. So here's the thing. We might even go in there and lose. But what I have done is exhausted all the administrative procedures that I need to do. So I've been in contact with the EAC. I filed a complaint with the Secretary of State and the EAC. I've been in contact with CISA, who has sent back, and we've had verbal conversations with them about what we're looking for as far as the vulnerabilities. So in Arizona, the legislator has given the process and procedures over to the Help America.
Power of it.
Yes, to the Help America Vote Act.
And just real quick, EAC is Election Accountability Commission?
I think Election Assistance Committee.
Election Assistance Committee. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, just so everybody knows what we're talking about when they watch.
Yeah.
Because I heard that the other day, the acronym, and somebody did tell me, and I did not put it in my mind, so thank you.
I can't remember what it is, to be honest.
But sometimes we just need to Google stuff and learn as we hear it.
Yeah, and I will look it up again, but I just go by the EAC as they said all of
So you're saying they turned it over now, the process and the procedures to...
Right, and in the Help America Vote Act, it specifically says that you cannot be connected to the internet. Right?
I mean, common
Seems
sense.
Quite well, back in February of 2010, the EAC, and then the Help America Vote Act uses this commission, whatever it is, at the EAC to define the procedures, and they create these voter guides and how things are supposed to work. Well, they modified the guide to include the fact that the machines can now be connected to the internet.
Right.
How about that?
Makes sense.
So
they're helping thwart the process.
Correct. And on top of it, they're going against the Help America Vote Act.
So something we need to even look into further probably. So we need to follow what you're doing with Congressman Gosar. We need to see where that goes. There's a lot of points of action coming up in this next month for Arizonans. Start reading your door knockers, start Googling people, start watching YouTube when people are talking, or any shots from around town at events by me or Gail or anybody else, so you can hear people firsthand. You know, listen to your neighbors. If somebody knows, everybody knows somebody. Somebody knows Gail. Somebody knows Sherry Sapir. Somebody knows Pamela Carter. Everybody knows people. Talk to people who know them. Find out who they are. Don't rely on a commercial. Let me just say that.
Right.
Stop watching commercials and start doing your own research so that you can make an informed decision coming up to our primaries and general in November. And let's see. So I'm going to ask this. So Doris over here behind the boards, she's my brain actually. She's just not the one running the boards. She's got all the ideas. So she question: Gail, do you have any idea if you would like to be on the board with?
Who she'd like to be on the board with?
Who would you like to be on the board with?
Oh, my goodness.
That's a great question. Thank you, Doris.
Well, I have to tell you, I mean, I only know of one person that's running for Jack Seller's seat right now, and that'll be in 2024. So what this election is it's a special election, and there's only one seat available, and it's only for 2 years. And so in 2024, all 5 seats will be up at the same time.
Wow.
So we will be able to get a clean slate at that point, except I'll be reelected.
That's right. So that, again, start
Absolutely.
researching. If you want to get involved, you have 2 years, well, 6 months really to start getting involved. But knowing the seats are coming up in Arizona, if you do want to get involved, you need to get online. You need to go to our elections committee. How do people get involved? If they want to run for an office, I do not know any of this information, by the way, because I am new to the game. So it's all a learning education every day for me. So when you went to run, what's the first step if somebody says, hey, I'm going to go for that office next, in 2024?
Well, I didn't know either. I mean, I've been a PC, but this was a big deal. I had to go out there and get a couple thousand signatures, set up a bank account, get an EIN number, get a campaign manager, all of those things. And I kind of laugh because I'm running against a couple of career politicians, 20 and 30 years, and I laugh because I said God wants me to put this all together in 4 months, really, because I kind of came into it late in the game. But you go to the Secretary of State's office, and they have a really good team there that gives you a lot of guidance, and you just make a phone call to the elections department, and they'll help you out. And I'm sure that's the same in
most states.
In most states,
if not every, the same type.
Right, and then of course you can go to your local, GOP or as well, and they will guide you as well. But generally, they've been. I have to admit, they've been pretty helpful overall.
Well, right. So I know nobody's perfect. So at least they have been helpful to this point. They've gotten you here. You've gotten yourself here. I know you're out working hard. I see Gail. So I never saw Gail. Then I met her. Then I didn't see her for a while. And now I see her literally everywhere I go because she's out there working every single day at all the events, talking to people. And so you need to get to know her so you can competently vote and make a choice come August 2nd here in Arizona. And is there something you want to tell them where to find you again?
Sure.
For donations or volunteer?
Well, I definitely could use some donations. I am grassroots, okay, and so I didn't have this whole big email list all put together, and even at that, it's not like I can use my business. I could use my business one, but you're really not supposed to. You really have to do this organically, and so I could really use your help. And you can go to my website, gailgolec.com. GAILGOLEC.
There it is right now on the screen.
There it is.
Perfect.
And you can go there, and if you scroll down there, you can see that I have there's a donate button at the top, and then you go down a little bit. There's a little video there, talks about me, and then you can click on any of those buttons, Power My Campaign. See that Learn the Truth? That's my Truth Tellers Town Hall.
That we mentioned earlier.
Yes, we did. And there's 4 hours. There's a whole page there. 4 hours cut up in 3 videos, and then like a preview video. So there's 4 videos there, and it really kind of talks about what you're going to see. And if you just want to listen to in the background, these are all American patriots who were sick and tired of not being heard. They had non-disclosure agreements at one point, and after the election, we had Ken Bennett, who is another one of these snakes in the grass, and he was walking around saying, well, the only thing that matters is that the hand count matches the ballot count. But thanks to you...
But that's not really all that matters.
It's really not.
That's the bottom line. That's not all that matters. Even the numbers on the paper is not all that matters. When you're talking electronics, algorithms, interest in companies who are providing these machines, which involves lots of money, all those things matter. It's not just about the data. So there's
and counterfeit ballots
process.
Counterfeit ballots don't count,
right?
And that's what I was
matters.
saying. And so I was like, okay, counterfeit ballots don't count. All right, so we have the paper analysis coming. Jovan Hutton Pulitzer is still putting that together, and we need to get that information out to the people. If you want to say that based upon Randy Pullen, the snake that took the binders off site for 9 days, breaking the chain of custody, so we will never know that true count, when and say that we've got this hand count and this ballot count, and that's really what matters. And you don't bring into the fact that many people at the audit, that he was there every single day, were talking about the various different types of paper and the batches and byte of ballots. He neglected to bring that out there, and I just said, I have got to get a voice for the people, and that was the beginning of me wanting to run.
Right, becoming a lion.
Yes, I really wanted to run after that. It was like you can go to on my website. You'll go to my Odyssey channel. Of course, I was on YouTube, and I had quite a big following until I didn't. Right? They just come in and they delete everybody and everything, all of your videos. But I connected it to Odyssey, so some of my older videos are there.
Oh, I better do that then.
Yeah, check out my Odyssey.
I'm new to YouTube too, like as of 6 months ago.
Oh,
so I didn't even watch YouTube before 6 months ago, and my kids do all the time. And I'm like, why do you guys always watch YouTube? There's a lot of good stuff there, though.
What's really cool about that is you link it up. Okay. You don't have to do anything. It just automatically streams over and creates a backup onto Odyssey.
So Odyssey.com, I'm sure it is. So
ODYSEE.
Just SEE. Okay, not with the Y. So I'm going to do that later today to preserve what I've been creating for 6 months, although it's not grand yet, but it hopefully will be one day. We just want to preserve what we put out there, because obviously if they're taking things down, then they know that we're saying things that they don't want out. I mean, this is just common sense, folks. It's just not smoke and mirrors here. It's just like, if they delete, it must be important.
Well, interestingly enough, I was taken down. I was interviewing Alex Culloden, who is one of...
running?
Yes, he's running for State House here in Arizona. And he's one of our very few constitutional election protection attorneys here in Arizona. We have very few. And so he's one of them. So I was asking him, what can we do? What are some next steps? What else can we do to help? And so he and I were talking about this, it's called a 1457, in which there is a law on the books that says if a crime has been committed in the county, that a legislator can bring that to the Attorney General to investigate. Okay. And if the Attorney General finds that they're guilty and the county does not act on it, they lose their budget.
So would we want to wait till the next Attorney General gets into office in Arizona to file this? Because I'm not sure we're going to get a lot of movement if we bring the smoking gun in right now.
Well, this 1457 was actually right after that interview. Well, the next day my YouTube was down. But
there you go.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
they did not want to know that answer. They did not want that answer out there. But Sonny Borelli, I once Alex told me that, I was talking to Senator Sonny Borelli the next day, and I'm like, Senator Borelli, Culloden has been saying this. Why are you not doing it? Well, the next thing you know, within 2 weeks, he did put that 1457 again, saying that they had not complied with the subpoena. So I call them the Board of Criminals, they had not complied with the subpoena. And so all of that being said, the Attorney General agreed that they had not complied with their subpoena. And on September 27, had they not complied with the subpoena and got us the Splunk logs and the signatures and the green envelopes and all of the things that they had not
done for the whole time
they have not obligated, they would have lost a significant millions of dollars of their budget.
Wow.
And so,
so it worked, but it wasn't as effective.
Well, it worked except
as
for
it could have been.
Corey Langhofer.
There we go. That name again.
Mm-hmm. He advised Senate President Karen Fann on September 17th, 1 week before the audit, to enter into this little agreement, and I called it the backdoor agreement on my Rumble channel, and you can see that and read it in its entirety. Read it in its entirety. But she entered into this agreement without the consult of the auditors, without the consult of anyone in the Senate. And she said, guess what? I'm signing off that the Board of Supervisors has complied with all items of the subpoena. And I was just like, since when does a Senate president get to make a decision about what the executive branch does and what the judicial branch does?
Right.
She just said arbitrarily like that.
So with sole power.
And I did ask her that, and she said, oh, it's constitutional. I'm like, baloney. There's nowhere in the constitutional. So she's getting this advice from Corey Langhofer, once again, who has continuously put in cases that have never gone to trial because of standing. Anybody out there who is listening and thinks that there has ever been an evidentiary trial in America, you are wrong. They have been dismissed without the evidence being presented.
Right. They hear about the case in the news. They hear about it going to court. They hear about the judge dismissing it, and they assume that means they had their say in court, and then he dismissed it. That does not mean that.
Well, guess what? One of the things
that means he dismissed it out of hand.
That's right. Well, one of the things I'm doing is I'm pro, what they call pro per, or representing myself in this case with Paul Gosar, Congressman Gosar. So I'm avoiding the Bar Association. I've got the data. Listen, we've got the data, we've got the evidence. Now you're going to hear it. We're not going to settle. I'm not settling until we get the evidence in front of the court.
And we can't settle. Nobody can settle until we have back the freedoms in place that were afforded to us through our Constitution, our Bill of Rights. There's so much to unfold in that. That's another show for sure. So we're going to have you back on.
For sure. That sounds great.
Let's tell the people again, www.gailgolec.com. You can find her website. You can find a donate button up top. You can find information and you can see Mr. Lindell and President Trump on there, as well as her Truth Tellers event she had last year, and hear all about what was informed to the crowd by the people who worked. And we wish you the best of luck. I want to get you back, because we could probably talk for 5 hours. I mean, let's just be realistic. I mean, our conversation could go on, and I know you are super busy. And it's the middle of the day, and she gave some of it to us, which is hard to do out of the middle of your day, just to cut and run and come over here. So we thank you greatly for that.
Thank you. I wanted to tell you also, you can go in and you can get the audit reports as well. A lot of these audit reports, the Eric Spakeen report, all of the Jovan Hutton Pulitzer reports, download them, share them. The truth shall set us free, my
right.
friends.
That's right.
And we are in war, and we must get the truth out there. And I thank you for the opportunity to share more truth.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for, folks.
Yes.
Just trying to get people to be able to say what they want without editing or cutting out any of the important stuff, which is everything they say. So there's no 2-minute spots and then you're cut here. So let's all get behind Gail. Let's read about her. Let's learn about her and educate ourselves in Arizona law, in our state, in our neighborhoods, in our counties, everything that affects your lives as U.S. citizens in America. It happens with you, and we all need to play our part, whatever that may be, going forward. So thanks for tuning in. This is Patriot Mom 007. This is my show, American Perspective. I hope to see you guys back again soon.
Thank you. God bless America.
God bless America.